Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mountain Biking in South East Queensland podcast. My name's Lachlan. I'm joined again by Oppy. However, there is no hubcap in the room this evening. We have a very special guest. I'm very excited to get into some questions. Before we introduce her, Oppy, how are you, mate?
I'm well. I'm enjoying the change of weather. We're back to cool weather, an autumnal change. There's a change in the air.
We're recording Feb 28, I think.
Yes.
And new season's upon us. And a new guest.
Yes.
Shall I introduce the wonderful Jayne Rutter? I've got a quick intro for her here. She is a mother of 3 kids and she loves to ride and race bikes. And as you will see through this podcast, all kinds of bikes, all kinds of pace, all kinds of everything. Her blog gives experiences of riding while pregnant, juggling kids and racing. Highlights of her racing include the 2008 Canberra World Cup Downhill in Canberra, the 2009 Penny Farthing National Championships in Tasmania, 2009 Off-Road Duathlon Queensland, 2011 Australian National Champs 4-Cross 3rd place. And some of her big results here include in being the elite women's South Australia state champion for downhill in 2005, 2006 and 2007. In 2006, she was also the elite women's South Australia state champ for XC, so XC and downhill in the one year. 2008 became the elite women's Queensland state champion for downhill. She moved to the lovely sunny state of Queensland there. In 2008, also came 5th overall in the elite women downhill Australia National Championships series. 2009 came 3rd in the Penny Farthing National Champs Ladies Tasmania. 2010 and 2011, she came 3rd overall in the Elite Women 4-Cross Australia National Championship Series. More recently, 2017 National Champion XC and Masters, National Marathon Champion Masters in 2019. 2024, second in the duathlon in the World Multisport World Championship Masters. Top 10 also in the triathlon at the same event. 2024, 6th World Champs XC Cairns Masters. You know what? There's more that we've cut this list down, and Jayne can fill us in. But needless to say, I think if we read everything, we'd be going all night. We wouldn't have much chance to chat.
That's
Jayne,
very impressive. I mean, you did ask me
I tried to speed up.
Legend.
I just speed up to get through that, but I don't want to take anything away from, obviously, the achievements and the broad depth of skill, knowledge, ambition, and everything you've got. Jayne, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you. Now that's quite an introduction.
Yeah.
I mean, we use the term about legends of the sport, but that's epic. That's an incredible palmares, as they like to say in the Europes.
We would love to know. You've been riding for, and you can tell us how many years. But what is your first experience of getting into what's known as mountain biking?
So it's a bit of a story, but I'll keep it short. I didn't really ride much as a kid. I was an adult when I really got into mountain biking. I won my first mountain bike at the pub when I was about 21, 22, in one of those 25 words or less competitions, and it was a giant warp. It was a hardtail, but at the time this was a pretty spectacular bike. It was worth $2,000, and I was so stoked to get this bike. But I didn't really know how to ride. But $2,000 bike, I was going to have a good crack at it. So that's where it all started.
Wow!
And that was in Adelaide?
Yeah, I think it was 2001 or 2002. Yeah, in Adelaide.
And where were you riding in Adelaide in those years?
Fox Creek was around at that point. They still race there. Quite a lot of pine forests around in the Adelaide Hills that were like legal trails where they'd race.
So what was your favourite trail in Adelaide? Do you have a favourite?
Well, probably Fox Creek, because it had a bit of variety. There was 3 different trails there at that time that you could race downhill. So that's where I started racing first, was downhill.
On a hardtail, on a $2,000 hardtail.
Yeah.
Wow.
And how quickly did you progress from a hardtail into a hardcore sort of mountain biker?
Fairly quickly, I guess. My boyfriend at the time, he had a mountain bike too, and he was keen to help me upgrade to a dual suspension and, you know, get a better bike and all the gear and start racing. So I guess that's what got me into it a bit more. I also wanted to race because that's where all the other women were that were racing. I didn't really have anyone at my ability that I was riding with. Everyone who I was riding with was quite a lot faster, so it was nice to meet other women and then ride with them because we were very similar. Yeah.
So social. And you made the big move to Queensland, South East Queensland in 2008. And by that stage, you were a pretty well-established mountain bike athlete.
Yeah.
What was that change like coming from Adelaide to South East Queensland? Was it a big, well, in the mountain bike context anyway, was it a big culture change?
Yeah, it was good. There was a lot more races up here. In Adelaide, we had one downhill club and one cross-country club. And in Queensland, there was just a lot more variety, a lot more different styles of racing, short course, normal XC, downhill. Like there was a lot more happening here in Queensland.
And did you start racing XC fairly early on, or?
So when I was in Adelaide, I raced XC as well, more so to get me fitter for the downhill. I didn't really see cross-country as a real mountain biking sport at the time. It was all about the downhill. But then I actually quite liked the cross-country too, so I would race both of them. And so when I moved to Brisbane, it was both downhill and cross-country racing.
We often like to ask our guests, what's your favourite trail in South East Queensland and why?
It's a big question.
Yeah. You can have more than one favourite, but just, you know, what's your favourite place to ride in Brisbane?
I know our other guests, or just about all of us, have mentioned our favourite places have usually been like where we started. And given that you didn't start riding here, it's, I guess, the first time we've asked someone coming into South East Queensland without it being one of your first places where you grew up riding or later started riding, which trail network or racing, what would you call it, trail centre, trailhead is your favourite?
Well, I guess, I mean, in my introduction, you talked a bit about that I do ride a lot of different styles. So it is a difficult question because you're comparing like gravity enduro trails to cross-country trails. But I guess if I had to pick a favourite, my local trails are at Ironbark, and the Whipsnake is probably one of my favourites there because it's got a bit of natural kind of trail plus machine-built trail. It's got a bit of everything. Yep. It's one of my favourites.
Yeah. So Ironbark's your regular. Mm-hmm. Do you get into Bundyville and up to Camp Mountain and?
Yeah, I get around. Gap Creek's not too far away either, but I don't mind getting in the car and driving to Mount Cotton or some other trail networks, Nerang or Toowoomba, you know. Yep.
So you said that you talked about finding the ladies that rode when you started out. Is it easy to paint a picture of how things were when you were in that process of finding the other women in mountain biking? And is there a comparison to now, how you go about that and what the community is like?
It's probably a lot easier now. I guess back when I started riding, social media wasn't really, a big thing. This is showing my age, right? But, back in 2002, 2003, it just wasn't as simple to go on the internet and find a riding group. So racing was the only way you could really meet other women that way. I think now there's a lot more Facebook groups or connections that you could meet other women.
Yeah. And in the racing scene specifically, the races you started going into compared to now, is that different to just a social community, side of the sport? Or do you find that, has that flourished as well as far as the number of women when you get into racing? Yeah,
definitely more numbers than back in the early 2000s. But, numbers are still quite low for women in general at mountain bike races. Yeah. But maybe it's improving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the biggest change I observed in women's participation in mountain biking happened when we moved from unauthorised trails into permitted trail networks. When it's a legitimate activity, you've got greater participation by women and children, and parents feel it's okay if it's got, a designated space, whereas, that when it's illegal and unauthorised, you see a lot more young guys who are rule breakers in part of it, and it's a bit more underground. So do you see that there's been, in the last few years, you see more women and kids, or you think it's still pretty constant?
I'd say definitely more. I mean, the trail networks are quite well marked too, so you can see, this is a blue trail or a green trail, and I think maybe the women prefer to have a plan of where they're going and what they're likely to come across on a trail network, whereas those young hooligans you're talking about are happy to just find their own way through the bush. So yeah, I think definitely more.
What's your drive for mountain biking? You've continued this sport through 3 children, and being a busy person like a lot of others. What drives you to continue racing and continue riding?
I do love being outdoors and exploring new areas and just getting away from, busy life with kids and work. Riding my bike is like a time out space for me to just chill. Yeah. But I am also very competitive, and I love the racing scene and pushing myself as hard as I can. So there's kind of two things happening there. But
yeah, I think they're not mutually exclusive. If when you're out training and you might be on your own, it's also, you've got a bit of solitude there in between the threshold intervals. Do you have a coach at the moment? Are you still racing competitively?
No, I don't have a coach at the moment, but I'm still entering races here and there, and yeah.
Yep.
Do you think you'll be, do you foresee that you'll continue to race ongoing?
Yeah, I can't see myself stopping anytime soon. Yeah.
Do you still race downhill or enduro? Or?
Not the downhill. So once I had my first baby, it was a bit impossible to go and do downhill runs. In your head you think you could make it work, but when you have a newborn or toddler, you can't be doing shuttles for a whole day somewhere. So I sold my downhill bike then and just focused more on the cross country. But then the new thing came with the gravity enduro, and I thought this is just perfect for me because I love the technical and the jumps and the drops, but then the fitness side of things from the cross country, it was combined, So gravity enduro, I really enjoy racing that.
Do you see that? So I've done a bit of enduro and a lot of cross country, and I think that I actually think enduro is a bit on the wane, and I think cross country is becoming more technical. The bikes are becoming longer travel. Do you think that's do you see enduro continuing, or do you think as cross country gets a bit rougher, that it might be, you might stay more in that zone and less in the...
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think that the gravity enduro is subsiding. I think that, there's 2 new series now in South East Queensland, so there's different tracks, different styles of timing and everything, so I think that maybe it'll be increasing a bit.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about where enduro got a lot tougher as in Australia in particular. We moved towards preparing people for the Enduro World Series, and we talked about the more participation based Rocky Trail Series,
Superflow stuff.
Superflow. Yeah. So yeah, I think that that participation side's growing, but I think have we got any Enduro World Cups? I don't think there are any in Australia this year. So I think that when I talk about it being on the wane, and I think also at that elite level, the sponsorship money is looking a little bit thin. There's quite a few people that have gone from trade teams to sort of privateering, and I just think maybe we're over the hump for World Series Enduro. I was going to say, you did talk about having kids and the challenges that brings with mountain biking. Mm-hmm. Did you have the child seat, the top tube mounted kids seat, and give that a crack?
No, not really. No, they were quite happy when they could get on the balance bikes to kind of just ride along on side, beside you. So we kind of focused a bit more on that, rather than sticking them on the front and going. I wanted the mountain bike to be my time, not to have the kid on the front when I was out riding. So,
do your kids mountain bike now?
The 2 boys do a bit, but.
Are you getting them into downhill, or are they just self-selecting going that way?
My eldest has broken his foot already at the dirt jumps, and then he dislocated his toe. Yeah, so he's sufficiently into it enough to axe himself.
Oh dear.
So when you did have kids, how did you find that, like, getting your time on the bike and juggling that? I think in your blog you had some photos of you still riding for as long as you possibly could.
Yep.
Tell us a bit about that.
So with the riding while pregnant part? I guess, like I said, riding is my escape, so I wanted to continue to do that as long as I could.
Yeah.
But obviously, the bigger you get, the more uncomfortable it is on the bike. But I think I rode till, 34 weeks or something, but nothing too crazy, just cruising along. But I think it gave me that mental escape, I guess, to stay riding, and it's what I'd always done, so it wasn't a risk of harming myself or the baby.
No, of course. And for you, it was important to stay active and riding, and were there any doubts? Is it, did you go, oh, this seems like it's going to be a tough battle? Tell us about, you had 3 kids. Throughout all of those 3, and as they started growing up, I guess, were there any challenges or...
Oh, there's plenty of challenges. Yeah.
Well, kids and challenges, hand in hand. But I guess, did you have that thought, oh, this is hard to get my riding time in?
Oh, yeah, it was always hard to get the riding time in. And then also, when you're sleep deprived and you've been up every 2-3 hours for the whole night for a year and a half, it's difficult to sometimes get your head in the right place to get on the bike and safely navigate single track. But I found that it helped me so much after I'd gone for a ride that it was non-negotiable that I would, I'd always try and make time for at least 2 or 3 rides a week, even if it was just an hour just out.
Yeah. So did your racing slow down, or did you just continue and found that you were happy and comfortable just going at whatever pace you could?
There was a couple of races that I did accidentally end up racing while pregnant. There was one at Hidden Vale that the race got cancelled because of rain or something, and they postponed it to 6 months further down the track. And by that stage, I was probably 6 months pregnant, and I thought, well, I've already entered, I'll just cruise around. I only just could squeeze into my bike kit, but I just took it as a fun day out on the bike and rode around. I wasn't pushing myself or anything, but to answer your question, I continued on, and I'd get back into racing when I felt ready afterwards, but always a struggle to train or feel like you were super fit, but it didn't really bother me. I was just out to have fun in some of those races. So
I love that. I've signed up. I'm 6 months more pregnant, but which speaks to the toughness. It's so, motherhood is physically and mentally draining and tough. And so is mountain biking. I know going for a ride, sometimes you take something from your riding and bring it back to your normal life, and vice versa. How did you find, did one impact the other?
I think that the riding escape definitely would make me a calmer mother if I had that time to myself. I guess like anybody would.
Yep. Stress relief.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's great that you can share these stories with us, and it's something for any of our women viewers or listeners to take heart at. That there's lots of great experiences out there, and not to shy away from exercising, your whole life, and coming back to sport doesn't have to be, a barrier. And there are lots of mums on the race scene. At the moment.
A lot of fast mums too.
Yeah, a lot of fast mums. One fast mother. That used to be Kathy Sessler's tagline when she was a pro.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's great to see, and something that we on Mountain Biking SEQ want to encourage people to come along, and we're really always really great to see participation in the sport.
Can I ask, so some of those races, wins and top 10s that we listed out early on, I'd love to take a bit of a dive in and ask if there's any particular like key moments? What are you most proud of? What are you most proud of in your long list? Because some are recent and some are back towards the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I'd love to know, you know,
He's proud of
What's your favourite race? Do you have a favourite race? It doesn't have to be a victory, but it could be, you know, like a favourite race to participate in.
Well, I know it's probably my least favourite, if that helps answer the question.
Yeah, well,
the marathon racing probably isn't my favourite. Probably neither is the short course racing. I like the kind of in between. So the gravity enduros and the standard cross country distance.
So do you think you're not a sprinter, or you don't have the time to put in the base to be an endurance
I don't know,
athlete?
because I actually do quite well in the short course. So that's one that I've got the national champion jersey for a couple of years running, but I don't particularly enjoy those races, but I do okay at them. So
yeah, fun after the fact. Type 2 fun.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But in terms of what I'm most proud of, you mentioned before about the off-road duathlon. That was last year in Townsville. I think that one quite proud of because it was a relatively new sport for me to try. The whole running thing, not really a runner, but I go okay, you know. But to put those two together with the mountain bike and the trail run, it was hard, but really rewarding, you know, afterwards. So I'm quite proud of that one.
And being trail running, I guess you got the opportunity to run on a lot of the mountain bike trails. Like I'm not a runner. I couldn't run out of sight on a dark night. Do you have any lessons learned for mountain bikers that want to run or dabble in duathlon?
I think naturally probably mountain bikers would do quite well, you know, if they could run, because the single track, you know, seeing where rocks are and where sticks are and stuff comes quite naturally. So if you're running on a trail or riding on a trail, it's quite similar.
Did it take you a long time to, because I'm guessing you weren't a runner before you took it up. So, you know, the thing that happens to cyclists that take up running is they've got this great cardio. So they can run, but their muscles and joints and things aren't up to it. And so what tends to happen is you see a cyclist who becomes a runner, they just go and destroy themselves by going way too far, too soon in that progressing. So did you get coaching or advice in that space?
No,
just a natural gifted athlete.
Absolutely.
Did you casually run at all during, like, while you were just a cyclist?
No.
So
it was
you
probably
really just went, I guess
I don't even know. 2022, I decided to enter a marathon. A couple of friends were doing it, and I thought, hey, I'll give that a go.
What distance?
A marathon, 42 kilometres.
You just casually decided,
I'll
may
have been a bit stupid at the time, but so obviously I started running for that, and then it was afterwards that I thought, I'll try this off-road triathlon scene, and
And you had competed at the triathlon off-road multi-sport championships, and you did the triathlon.
Yeah, so the triathlon and the duathlon were the same event, but obviously the triathlon has the swim thing in the start. That
and so you weren't a swimmer before you did that?
No. So that's
in
right.
the same way you just said, I'll do a marathon. It's like I'll take up swimming and become a triathlete.
Have a swim. What is it? 1 or 2 Ks or something?
1,500 meters. Yeah. So I guess by that point I was like, I can run and I can mountain bike, and so how hard can swimming be? Well, it's actually really hard. So I got lessons in the local pool because I didn't grow up learning to swim. Like in Adelaide, it wasn't really a thing to have swim schools around and learn to swim. So I was really starting from real beginner. Yeah. But I was pretty determined, you know, like I went to my lessons and then go to the pool and, you know, practice. And, then I rocked up to the first main one was at Lake Krakenbat, the national champs down there, because I needed to get qualifying points to do the world championships. So it was Krakenbat was probably the first one there with the swim and the...
Did you have a wetsuit?
Mm-hmm, yeah, it was a wetsuit swim, but it was in February, but it...
Because it's quite cold, the water there, at any time.
It was, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so were there lessons from mountain biking or downhill that helped for, I don't know, mental strength or knowing how to train? You know, were there transferable skills?
I guess so, but I probably didn't...
Well, it wasn't conscious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And are you maintaining the running and the swimming, or is it
Yep. So I just found out I was selected for the Australian team for the off-road World Champs in Spain in June this year. So the duathlon and the triathlon as well. So because I did well in Townsville last year, I guess I had runs on the board then and got selected. Yeah, for that. So I still am not sure if I like the triathlon thing, but it's kind of fun to do something different and then push yourself in a different way.
You're going to Spain?
Well, we haven't booked yet, but that's the plan. Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first, folks.
Congratulations.
National representative.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Fantastic.
that's congratulations.
Yeah, so I do need to keep the swimming up so then I don't drown out there. But
And do you know anything about where you're going in Spain?
Not really, no.
Oh, well, just jump in, just run a marathon, do a triathlon, travel the world. Just
what other sports are we going to
Is there anything you can't do? I mean,
yeah, probably. Swim. I'm not very good at swimming, no.
Wow.
Now, I did ask you favourite memory of a race, or you were asked your favourite race, but you told us your least favourite. Did we end up...
Oh, yeah, well, I just said normal distance, cross-country, Olympic distance and gravity enduro.
Yep. And any specific podiums that you look back on and go, yes, that's the moment I trained for, or, I
don't know. I trained pretty hard for the Masters World Champs cross-country last year in Cairns. Like, I really did make an effort and had a coach for that period. So Donna Dahl coached me for that. And so I was really happy with how I performed. And so that one I came 6th, but I was stoked with that. And so sometimes it's not the number that counts, 6th. But that to me probably meant more than some of the national champ short course wins, because it was a tough race and, I pushed myself hard and
What were your impressions of Smithfield?
Yeah, it was really fun. Yeah. I'd like to ride
the
downhill track, actually. I think that would be fun.
Did you get the chance to see any of the world champs or go to any of those when they were up there? Like there was a 96 Worlds.
No.
Were you even mountain biking?
No.
I think we'll just cut that out. Snip that out.
You said a second ago it's not the place that counts. What is it to you? Some people are really into the data of riding, or poring over their results or times or segments. Or are you one of those people, or what is it that we've talked about on this podcast? Coming away from a race, and it's not the position, the result that matters, but what is it to you?
Are you an outcome, or is it a process, or is it like I gave it all my all and I couldn't have given any more? This thing.
Yeah, probably a bit of that, but I also, I guess, because technically, I'm probably quite strong technically, coming from the downhill background. Feel like I've had a good race if I've either overtaken someone in a really tricky spot or managed to rail a section clean, or I kind of feel like some of those mini achievements within the race make it feel like it's a success or success. Yeah.
So those motivate you to do more racing? Or those are
Yeah.
Well, my question was similar. Is that a feeling you get more so in racing than just doing a good job on it, just on a social ride or a so it's
absolutely.
racing
because it pushes you just that bit more, I guess if you're out chasing Strava segments or something in your local trails, you might push yourself, but it doesn't compare to what you'd push yourself if you're actually racing.
Yeah.
So you're not a Strava fan?
I am a Strava fan, So I'm just saying the feeling's different. Yeah.
Have you got any sneaky Strava comms that you want to, around Ironbark?
Yeah, Combi Trail's just been upgraded. I don't know if you've ridden it. Yeah, so all the jumps have been built up and berms have been built up and it's running fast. So all the times are being smashed. But I'm holding second place on Combi, and I have done for a while, and I haven't been able to take that crown. But now that it's running fast, I'm gonna go get that.
Who is it? Come on, who's
Lisa Matheson, actually. Yeah,
well,
she's got the Queen of the Mountain.
Quality competition.
I know. So I think I'm 2 or 3 seconds off her time, but I think I can get it now.
24 hours after rain when it's just,
5 mils.
Yeah. We'll get out there with the broom and we'll broom it up.
I think it's achievable, but there's a lot of other fast riders out there too that,
And this is outright too. Like when I'm chasing a Strava comm, it's for age for weight.
Yeah, well, this is women, okay? I'm not outright with the men. But
No, yeah, but still, like, it's not like an age group thing. Like, it's the second fastest woman on the course. That's pretty good.
It's a local trail, though, local advantage. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not telling you where I've got comms, but they're like up my driveway. It's just me.
You make your own Strava.
Yeah. It's like, no one's taking that one.
So where do you live again, though?
Yes, let's make that public and everyone can go beat you. Yeah.
I remember on a side topic, during COVID, so I live on a long, narrow block, and it's got, I think it's, 100 metres of elevation change between the top and bottom. It's an acreage block, very fortunate. But I rode 20 Ks during COVID on my house block.
Wow.
just doing runs. So
Jesus.
it's a good comp. That's what I'm saying. It's like,
Yeah.
got that dialed.
Impressive.
Not on the up, I think, maybe just on the down.
Tell us a little bit about the four cross. That's not a sport I'm too familiar with.
Yeah, I can't remember when they phased that out, but must have been, I don't know, 2007 or 8 or some. No, maybe 10. I don't know. It used to be part of the national circuit, so they did the downhill cross country and four cross. So it's like BMX racing, but with four riders and technical. So you'd have jumps and drops and rocks and stuff on the course. So I just kind of got into that again. Just something else. It was a new thing on the scene, and I thought I'd just have a crack at that with, Carolyn Buchanan and Sasha Huntington, and it was quite a big thing at the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oppy, did you get into that?
So the origin of four cross started with a lot of mountain bike events were held in the early days in the US on ski resorts. And so they held dual slalom as an entertainment event based on dual slalom skiing. And so just gates on a grassed hill. And it was great fun. It's a spectator sport. Everyone can see it. And from dual, G-U-A-L, slalom, it evolved into two riders on one course. And D-U-E-L. Is that the other spelling? We'll take that out later. So it was like two riders dueling on one course. And part of that was it made more jumps, more berms. It was a bit more exciting. But it tended to lead to sort of follow the leader. And at the time, in the growth of snowboarding, they had border cross, which was four riders or four boarders on the course. And it sort of bled into mountain biking. Then they spiced it up into four cross. So I really loved dual slalom. That was great. Just a few witches' hats on a grass hill and, just ripping turns. But as it started to get far more BMX and big jumps, I kind of moved out of that, and it all got a bit hard for me. Speaking of four cross, I do have some good slalom memories. In particular, there was I remember when it was a club. I think it might have been a dual slalom. So it was two riders on one course. A young kid who was precocious and super fast. And I vaguely think that we had. So it was a club course. It wasn't exactly, World Cup standard. I vaguely think that we had bunted the course with star pickets and tape. And we came to, lined up against this little kid, and he was, just wiping me out. And I thought, we're coming up to this tight corner. And so I just because I was much bigger than him, I just lean on him a bit until he went, I'm heading for the edge of the course. And he had to hit the brakes, otherwise he would have hit a star picket. Yeah, Jared Graves was his name.
Oh, right.
And so, he learned from a young age how to, go hard in four cross. I like to think that, I was part of his success, teaching him those hard lessons when he was young.
Well, I used to ride on the same team as Troy Brosnan, so we used to ride together. Oh. He was 10. I was 21.
So you taught him everything he knows?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, right.
Hubcap always bags me about being, elder statesman of the sport. Being old, yeah. Jayne and I are of similar vintage. We've been around the sport a long time. I think I saw. It would have been 2008, around then when you came up here, that I met Jayne at the races, and so I've been seeing. Well, I've been seeing you on and off ever since. Oh, that sounds terrible.
It does.
Okay, next question.
To go to some of the other things I wanted to chat about was, we talked about mountain biking in South East Queensland. How many of the places around South East Queensland have you ridden? Is there anywhere in South East Queensland you haven't ridden that you want to get to? Okay, we'll just start them off. So, have you done Boomerang Farm on the Gold Coast?
Yep, been there. Boomers.
What about, you would have probably done some enduros at Mount Joyce.
Yeah, I've done Mount Joyce, yeah.
And Coralbin, I take it.
Coralbin.
Nerang?
Nerang, yeah, heaps of Nerang, yeah.
Have you ever been to Mount Marley?
No.
Oh, we've got one.
No.
Did you try Old Tambo?
Probably back in the day, yeah.
It's not much there, but it's, yeah.
Pardon?
Eagle Heights and Mount Tambo. Yeah, there were two very, very famous downhill tracks up there. There's one official track there now, the Dump Run.
Yeah, I think I remember that one.
Which was an old telecommunications maintenance road. They ran a trench up the mountain to run the telephone lines and, of course, built a road over it. And the mountain bikers went, bitumen road at the top and a dirt road down. And, training course for Nathan Rennie and Chris Kavarik back in the day.
Is that right? Yeah, I don't know. Is that the one that they call Old Tambo now, or is that a different?
That's Old Tambo.
That's Old Tambo. Okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's a lot of good trails. We're pretty lucky.
Have you done the border trails along the Queensland border?
No.
Oh.
You're not just trying to find trails that I haven't.
Yeah,
pretty much his objective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you see, then we can talk about which ones would you ride. I can highly recommend Mount Marley because of the granite. It's not like anything else in South East Queensland. There's an enduro coming up there later.
I did see
this
that.
year, so put your name down. In fact, I encourage a lot of Brisbane riders or coastal-based riders. If you haven't been up to Mount Marley, get on up and enjoy Stanthorpe wine country, and enjoy the trails. It's not like anything else around here. What about Parklands? Ridden Parklands?
Yeah, I like Parklands. Yep. And the emu, what's his name? Fluffy. Cruises around.
Yeah. And Twanton?
Yeah, Twanton and Sugarbag Road. Yeah.
What do you think of Sugarbag?
They've done well to squeeze a lot of trail in a very small area. It's great to take kids because when they start whining, you're not far from the car park because it's actually a very small area. Yep.
Have you had to go at some of the wooden features, the bridges and seesaws?
Some of them, yeah. Yep.
Did you ever get into that in downhill? Because wooden features were big in the...
Yeah, they started, Whistler and that, they had a lot of the North Shore. Yeah, a lot of North Shore there. So, yeah, I did get into it back in my youth, but I'm not as brave on some of that stuff now, but, yeah.
What about pump tracks, the modern bitumen pump tracks that are everywhere? You have a crack at the pump track? Yeah, it's fun. So good for your skills, like pump tracks. Yeah, really good for your skills. Do you have a favourite pump track?
No.
Oh. I rode the new Victoria Park pump track the other week.
That looks good. I haven't been there though.
Yeah, on the way I was commuting home, and I'm like, I'm just going past. I'll pull in there and
what bike were you on?
A single-speed cyclocross steel with flat bars.
Okay.
Rim brakes.
Yep.
Yeah,
How did it go?
Really well because it's super fast. But it was more a case of it was after school time, so I was dodging children on scooters and things. But for that, after hours or after when kids have gone home, the Darra pump track is under lights, and I don't think the lights go off till like 9 p.m. So if you want a scooter kid-free pump track, head out to Darra. Especially on a Wednesday night, there's generally a bit of a mountain bike crew that'll be there. Ripping it up.
So, where are you at in your racing career, and what's sort of coming up?
Where am I at? Well, I told you about Spain. That's coming up. But I've got a lot of the Gravity Enduros penciled in my calendar, the local ones.
Yep.
Rocky Trails?
Yeah, and the Renegade series. Is that what it's called? Renegade?
Yeah, Coralbin and do they do Joyce, Mount Joyce?
Yeah.
And Toowoomba, I think, unless they call that the Outlaw Downhill or something. Yeah, I'd have to double check exactly, but that's all on the edge of fence. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all in the calendar.
Any cross countries?
Yeah. We were talking about before that there aren't any national series in Queensland this year, so usually I like to go race those just to see where you fit against the rest of the women in the country, but there aren't any this year, so
you mentioned earlier off before our podcast that you're not going to the national titles this year. You'd be doing national titles. How many years in a row did you go?
Yeah, quite a lot actually. I like going, but just the financial side of things, I just thought I'd give it a miss this year. And if I'm going to Spain, I need to save the money. But it is a lot. It's a lot of travel, a lot of annual leave, and it's a big commitment. But I'll be back for them. I just didn't think I could fit it in this year.
So speaking of time commitment, so you are a morning trainer, an afternoon trainer, or whenever I can fit it in?
Whenever I can fit it in around juggling kids' activities and my own activities. So,
are you at soccer on a Saturday morning on the wind trainer? Go! On the sideline?
Usually running around. I'll go for a quick run.
So that's probably, I guess, a good tip for, cross training. If you want to, works for your mountain biking if you can't
Absolutely. Because, if you do a half an hour run, it gives you just a big workout as you would at an hour and a half ride, or depending how hard you ride. But, a run, it takes it out of you. So.
There's no coasting on a run.
No.
So, I've toyed with the idea. My coach has taken up running, and I'm like, I wonder whether I should give it a go for the training benefit, because for exactly that reason. It's so much more intense. Your heart rate goes up. It's a lot harder. But I don't know which way to go into that. But anyhow,
it's not as much fun as riding, but
yeah, that's kind of the thing. I love to ride. I do remember trying to go for a trail run and being so frustrated with not getting anywhere that I'm like, no, I'll stick to the bike.
Yeah, I much prefer the bike, but.
And within the sport, you've done lots of different niches. Is there any cycling niche that you haven't done that you'd like to do?
I guess you don't always know what's coming in the future. What's the next thing.
E-bikes. We know what the next
thing
is.
No, I'm not going to go to an e-bike. But what other discipline might be the next thing that comes?
Do you have any inklings or things you'd like to see the next innovation in mountain biking, cycling?
Don't know. I did do the National Esports Series last year or the year before. It's like Swift, but it's through Oz Cycling. So you're actually racing against other people in Australia, but on Swift, but it's part of the National Series. So that was something different.
That was big when they were doing that. Is that still going, or is that?
I haven't seen when they are for this year, but there's usually 5 or 6 rounds.
That's very cool.
It's different type of racing, but it's good because you can get home from work and then get on the trainer at 6 p.m. and do your race and
No, it's something I've never had a crack at. Esports.
Esports, yeah.
Do you need a really good bandwidth connection? Like I'm on a tiny little pipe of internet out at home.
You probably wouldn't want it to drop out part way.
And do they make an effort to verify people's numbers and stuff that they're putting in?
Yeah, so you need to have a set of scales ready just in case they call you after the race and get you to weigh yourself on video. Because it's all to do with the parameters you put into the system. Yeah. So if you put your weight too heavy or too low, it can skew the stats. Does the scale
have to be connected to the internet or something?
No, I think that I don't know. I never got asked to do it, but I think they just video call you, and then you have to get on there and show that's your weight.
Doctoring the scale.
I don't know.
It just overreads. No. But it came up the other day at a club race about scrutineering for e-mountain bikes, and this was a new mountain bike that was released. And it doesn't meet the Australian standards for the being on-road legal. And it's like, well, there's not a lot of guidance from MTBA yet about that. And how do you check it's not chipped or it's a developing space. So that's why I said, I think the next thing is e-bikes. We're seeing a few out there at the races. It does make it easier for people to participate in the sport. Mountain biking is hard.
Yeah, there's a place for it.
And we've been talking about self-riding bikes and VR as well.
We talked a lot about technology one episode, and I guess a good question is, was there anything in particular as you progressed through your bikes and the technology on the bikes, anything that sort of stood out as like a giant leap in performance or value?
We talked about Strava before, and I think that made a massive difference in people pushing themselves, to ride segments faster, either up or downhill. I think that that changed the sport a lot, actually. I don't know if that answers your question in terms of the technology on the bike, but
yeah, no, we didn't really talk about that. I absolutely agree. I think the way in which a segment of the community started riding trails had a huge impact on the trails in terms of where you used to have like tight and slow bits that was still in open country, people just stuck to the trail. But when Strava came out, Strava shortcuts just changed the way we built and designed trails. The average design speed has gone up. And hand in hand is also, bike and technology. But that was one thing that we didn't talk about, the changes that Strava made. And indeed also popularising trails that were probably unknown. People, little signs on trails that says no Strava on this trail.
It's almost like the perfect answer. We need our soundboard with the ding for correct. No, that's a great one. Anything else tech-wise, like the change in wheel size or anything like that?
I don't see that much change in the wheel size or even dropper posts. I thought that was pretty cool. It definitely made people ride a bit more aggressive, and the electronic shifting, like all those things help. But
you're not like a gearhead that just has to have the latest, 12-speed electronic shifting. Integrated.
I am.
Oh,
no, I've got all the gear. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I just don't think that shifted the sport that dramatically. But
there were a few of those changes that kind of, if in hindsight, from where we've come a long way, he said, pointing at the camera, but, they occurred incrementally at the time. There aren't those step changes. We had to talk about a couple of things that we thought were step changes. I think dropper posts really changed the way cross-country bikes are being ridden. And that's how I was saying, it's becoming a lot more aggressive now and a lot more technical.
Yeah, exactly. You can ride a lot more technical trails more easily because of the technology. Yeah.
With your old Warp, did it have rim brakes and 26-inch wheels?
Yeah, it would have. Yeah. Disc brakes weren't really a thing then. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
So you've been on a similar journey with the technology that's happened at the. So that was really still the infancy of the sport. 26 and rim brakes. Was it the? I seem to recall the giant Warp had a really weird frame tube design. It wasn't like
had like a gap kind of at the back. It looked like it should have been a dually, but it wasn't.
Anyway. They used to break.
Yeah.
Won't say that, but
But I think the technology, like the weight of bikes they're getting so light now, and for me that's a big thing because I'm not a very big person. So I find I need a light bike because then I can make it go faster. So light bikes are, up there.
So carbon wheels, carbon frame, carbon bars, dropper post, electronic shifting.
Pretty much, yeah.
Clip-in pedals.
Yep. 10 kilo, dually, done. Yeah.
Nice.
What else gives you, apart from weight, what else gives you that extra edge? Are you a nutrition sort of geek? What are you?
No, skills. Skills is my big thing. Yeah, nutrition, so much, but skills, like nailing exactly how to manoeuvre the bike properly on sections and pumping the trail and floating through rock gardens and launching stuff like that. That's the thing I think makes the biggest difference. So, yeah.
And that comes from your background in downhill. Do you think with the modern flow trails and the sort of, I think a lot of those downhill tracks that were old school rough have gone away. Do you think new riders coming through have the opportunity to get those skills, or you don't? Because you're saying you've got those skills and others don't. Do you think they don't have the opportunity?
I'm not saying others don't. I'm just saying.
But that's your strength. That's the strength that you play.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and you're right with the flow trails. Sometimes people don't know how to ride the loose stuff or the steep stuff because they're not environmentally friendly and they don't have a lot of steep trails anymore. But people that do lack those skills.
So
a bit.
New school trails, old school skills.
Yeah, but there are trails out there, legal trails that are, technical like that are loose and rocky and a bit more natural. But a lot of people just like to ride the flow trails with the jumps and the big berms. So, I hear you. I like a bit of everything, but skills.
So what is your favourite type of trail then? Is it the old school or the new?
I like a bit of everything. That's why I said Whipsnake was a good one because it's got a bit of all of that, the natural and the off camber, but then also some nice berms and some jumps. So
and recently a flowing creek to cross for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Did you get to ride it in the wet?
Oh, I have ridden it in the wet, but
Yeah, we had 1/2 metre of water coming through the bottom of Whipsnake a couple of weeks ago. It was dry again now, but
Wow.
yeah.
this was recorded pre-Cyclone Alfred, so watch this space.
Yeah. As a more experienced and let's say professional rider in the community, and you see younger riders, and I guess particularly female, coming through, do you often find yourself, are you in a position, not necessarily coaching, but giving advice to, or what would be your advice for younger riders getting into the sport and racing?
Well, there's a lot of questions in
It's
that.
a lot of questions.
That is,
I just realised.
Yeah, it is. So I do coaching. I do the mountain bike coaching
do.
for ride techniques, and we have got a lot of young girls coming up through that, and it's really good to see. But tends to have a bit of a drop off in participation from the girls when they hit the teenage years. But then you get a spike in women who are probably in their 30s, 40s, wanting to learn the skills. Later in life. So it's kind of just that the teenage girls don't tend to be so much into mountain biking, but the adults are and the younger girls are. So
Okay. Yep.
We do see a similar for boys. They discover cars and girls and they drift away from the sport, and sometimes they come back as adults.
yeah,
That's fair.
Yep.
And what do you prefer? The skills, obviously, is your favourite thing to share. Your skills.
So are you a
corner?
skills coach or a
Yeah.
fitness coach?
skills. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's I've noticed that's a bit of a growing area. I think we talked about this at one stage, that there's a longer history of fitness coaching, but there's a real growing in skills.
Mm-hmm.
How often are you doing that?
I do the after school kids once a week, and then every fortnight some gravity enduro sessions or women's sessions as well. So
Yeah.
I do the women's only classes, which is it's good because a lot of the women feel less self-conscious and more of them attend. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And for those who aren't into the sport yet, what would you say is the best thing about getting into mountain biking for, let's say, for a young female to get into riding? What do you think it would give them?
I guess everyone's different. You can't really say what it would give them. But, I mean, from my experience, I guess, it gives you that freedom, but it also gives you a buzz, like if you ride something well or fast or a jump or something, it gives you that adrenaline and buzz. So I guess if someone was into that kind of thing or they're looking for something different, mountain biking is a good sport to get into.
Yeah.
I think there's two elements. That there's the sport of mountain biking, and then there's the I don't want to say participation, but there's the activity of mountain biking, which, I definitely noticed that, and we talked about this a little bit, that in the early days, mountain biking was a sport, but now there's been a real growth in just participation. People that own a really expensive bike and consider mountain biking part of their identity, but they never race. So do you have a mix of recreation riders and competitors in the skills coaching? Or is it just competitors?
No, it's a real mix. Yeah, the women's one particularly, it might be people who maybe rode when they were younger and they haven't ridden for quite some time, and their kids are getting into riding, so they want to be able to get confident to ride with their children on single track. But then within that same mix, you've got people who want to enter their first gravity enduro race or their first cross-country race. So you have a real mixture in there. So yeah, it's a bit of both. Yeah.
And did you find the experience of having a coach for swimming that you were able to take away styles or lessons and things, learnings in that sort of, that you could take back to your coaching?
Not really, no.
No, okay.
No.
I think there's things about like form and repetition and things like that you learn from a swimming coach about, that has aspects for like, bend your knees, bend your elbows, maintain some good form on your bike.
Yeah, I guess with mountain biking, there's a lot of websites and information out there and books on like how to ride or mountain bike skills, but then also coaching with people like Dylan Cooper or those people who have been doing this for a long time. You learn a lot from them about how to coach as well. So, like how to teach people how to corner and how to jump and stuff. So, I guess it's more about learning from the people around you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting for me because, my experience starting mountain biking was definitely learn through trial and error.
And follow someone.
I don't know whether I've told the story, but the club I started with, it was like, if you go, I go. That's how we learned. It's like, I bet you can't ride down that. And we'd, egg each other on. And that's how you learnt what was and what wasn't achievable. But having a coach is probably a great way of shortcutting a few broken bones and dislocated toes.
Yeah. And it's progressive, like you kind of don't just chuck people down a steep hill. It's you slowly build them up. So it's a safe way of learning.
Yeah. And I think the greatest value is objectivity. You've got that third person view. You can see what you think you're doing and what you're doing aren't the same thing.
Yeah.
And who are the hardest to teach?
The boys, specifically between maybe age 10 to 14, because they often think that they're a lot more skilled than what they are, and they can go fast into things and often crash. Yeah, or they don't listen. So yeah.
I absolutely agree. Yep. As I mentioned earlier about me discovering what I could do by trial and error.
If you're a 10 to 14-year-old boy and you're listening to this podcast, leave your comments below.
If you're a 10 to 14-year-old boy listening to this podcast, write in.
Go
because
to school.
I don't think that's our niche.
That's funny.
Actually, I'll move on from that one. I did get one young rider at the last cross-country event comment that he'd seen the podcast. Everyone else who'd seen it, I don't know whether it's the algorithm, but they're a lot closer to my age than 10 to 14.
Okay, good to know. Yep. There's the word you said before that stuck with me was the buzz, like for new riders, come and, enjoy the buzz of riding. And to me, I think that also plays out as it's a buzz in the moment, but it's like a self-confidence. You come away with this growth and self-confidence of mastering a skill. So particularly and I've worked in the outdoor leadership space, and the outdoors is a great way to push yourself out of your comfort zone, learn a skill, come away and master a skill and grow and become more confident. So I think that's really important. On another note, I did read one of your blogs mentioned something about as you moved into the Masters category, something about feeling a bit like a fraud taking a podium in Masters. How was that experience in, maybe not racing elite, but moving into Masters? How has that changed mentally for you?
I guess at the time, I was juggling 3 young kids and it was different because I did feel like, no, I should be, racing elite or whatever. But then I realised that the women that I was racing against were in the exact same situation as me. So, when I was in the earlier Masters years, my kids were a certain age and often their kids were the same age too. So we were on equal playing field. They'd probably been up all night with a kid vomiting as well the night before, or, so then it kind of settled me a little bit more, thinking, no, this is fair racing. This is okay. And then the more Masters races that I've done, you think it'd get easier because the women are getting older, but it's not the case. They actually just get faster, and then they have more time on their hands because their kids are older, and it's just this continual chase. So it's it's still difficult. Racing in Masters.
Yeah, I do remember going from elite or opens to Masters, and it was, there were quite a few years where I didn't participate in Masters. I kept on racing elite, and what was the biggest thing for me was I actually enjoy riding with people, and I was riding at the back of elite on my own, and unfortunately in South East Queensland we don't have any qualification process, so you might have 5 guys in elite, 20 guys or 30 guys in Masters, in sport or B grade, and it's like, well, I can come 5th at the back, or I can enjoy racing with people and participating, and I found it actually much more enjoyable to be with people, and but it does take there's a little hit to the ego on move from the step up to masters, but they get faster. In fact, I think around 35 in the men's class. There's like the age dips as they're all parents with. Well, it's very common for parents and just younger kids in that late 20s, early 30s, and that's probably the smallest participation age category. And then, as they get older and they get more free time, because this is my first year in Masters 5, and the lap times are the same as Masters 4 and Masters 3, and it's like, how does that work? So I guess they just get cunning and...
Yeah, or then maybe they've got more money to buy the better technology parts on their bike that makes them faster.
We actually talked about the stock racing and the sport is getting very expensive, and not just the travel, but like even bikes and carbon everything. So there is a beauty in simplicity, and just which I really want to touch on this. Nothing more simple than a big wheeled fixed bike like a penny farthing. Do you own a penny farthing?
So my stepfather, he owns 4 penny farthings, various sizes. So yes, I've raced on his penny farthings before, and they're actually really fun.
So if you want to, get more people involved in the sport, do you think you're going to bring one out to one of the mountain bike races and show it off?
Well, you probably would struggle to ride it off-road because they don't have
penny farthings.
Oh yeah, well these ones that I rode are, they're road ones, so they don't have tyres. They're just
rubber, solid rubber.
Yeah, solid. Yeah, so it would be a bit of a rough ride if you were off-road on that.
On the bone shakers.
Yeah.
But that was a highlight for you, right?
Yeah, it was really fun. Yeah, it's quite difficult to get up on the penny farthing, and you're quite high up there, and it's fixed wheels, so no brakes. So you really need to think about slowing. You're pedaling down to slow yourself down and to dismount as well. So it's complicated, but quite fun.
That's cool. Amazing.
Yeah,
it's done it all. Cool. It's done more disciplines than I have, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that sounds exciting. You were talking about the phase of getting, now you sound like you maybe even more focused or are going to have more dedication to your racing than ever before, perhaps. Am I onto something there? Or?
Well, I've always been dedicated,
Yeah, that's not to take away the fact that even though you're racing, other people are in the same boat. You've clearly dedicated a lot to your racing.
Too. And are you... Now you've got sort of 3 disciplines under your belt. You're thinking about, maybe doing a bit of kayaking, maybe a bit of...
adventure racing.
Yeah, you're going to take up adventure racing? Is this the next phase you're moving into?
I don't know.
Cave, underground mountain biking?
The mountain bike has to be the central part of all of this, the other
It is your first love?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
More than the others?
Yep.
Yeah. But no, like I was saying, you clearly have had to be dedicated through everything. Mm-hmm. If let's say your partner was in the room, what would his response be if we asked him what's your superpower in terms of time management and drive? What would he say is that drives you and and makes it happen? How do you perform at your best?
I think if I decide I'm going to do something, then I'll go through with it. So like with the marathon or this learning to swim, like if I make a decision that I'm going to try something, then I'll see it through to the end. So I guess is that determination or I don't know, but I guess I'll...
Strength of character.
Yeah, I'll make sure I do everything I can to meet that goal. Yeah.
Yep. I imagine a lot of sacrifices too between both of you to make racing a priority.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a bit about the financial side of things, but then also, with kids, you can't just take over everyone's lives with your racing. You've got to think about other people in the family and spend time with them and what they like to do. So, there's a bit of a balance there. But sacrifice, a lot of, sleep sacrifice. I'm not really an early morning person, but I will get up early if I have to. But yeah.
Is there anything you do in the mountain bike space we haven't touched on? Because you seem to have a lot of achievements, a lot of skills, a lot of everything these days.
Trials. Have you ever done trials?
No, I haven't done trials. No.
Well, I know a lady by the name of Janine. She can probably give you some tips, and we might see you at the Masters trial next year.
Yeah. No, I haven't tried that. No.
But we've done cross country, downhill. You did dual, but did you ever do the original sort of slalom?
I've probably done a few of the dual slaloms. Just, they had them at the downhill races just for, like the spectators.
Yeah. And you've done marathons. Have you ever raced cyclocross?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I didn't really enjoy that. But it was a long time ago before I learnt how to run, so maybe I'd do all right. But it doesn't really excite me, the cyclocross.
Rockhampton state titles this year, just throwing it out.
Yeah, no.
Don't they also have some puddles in that usually? So your running and swimming might actually come in pretty handy.
And your downhill skills definitely help in the mud.
Yeah.
Well, I think you've got an amazing experience and wealth of knowledge with mountain biking, and you can catch Jayne at Ride Techniques Coaching.
Yeah. And what other races are on your calendar? I know we have talked a little about some. What other local races?
Got anything coming up in the next little while?
I'm going to rock up to the summer sprints on Sunday. What's that, at Underwood Park? The Rats one. I like those ones. They're fun.
Yeah, I don't know whether I'm getting out to that. I'm starting to taper. I am going to the
you've got your big
the
national
nationals.
champs.
I'll be packing the truck.
Yep. Yeah.
Any future goals for your mountain biking that we haven't talked about?
Do you have the one that got away? Do you have a race that you would desperately wanted to go and do and haven't got to yet?
I'd like to win another national champs, like I would for the Olympic, XEO distance, because I've missed out on that a couple of years in a row. So I'd like to go back and take it back again. Not this year, maybe next year. Yeah.
On that trail running, swimming, cross training, you're going to come back and smash it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You will be Mr. The Nationals this year.
Yeah.
But there's plenty more racing in your future, I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
And good luck with Spain. We'll all be cheering for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be streaming it live.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for coming and having a chat.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your experiences with mountain biking.
No worries.
And
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's been fun.
You've got an unbelievable list of achievements in there and lots of years of racing. The downhill, the marathon, the cross country, the penny farthings. Yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed. And we're lucky to have you here in Queensland now. So yes, you've made the right choice there.
Yep.
And thanks for joining us.
Thank you.